Yenn Purkis. Yenn Purkis, an autistic, ADHD, non-binary, asexual individual with schizophrenia, author and global presenter. Yenn's presentation is entitled A Journey Through Self-Advocacy Using Creativity and Positive Autistic Attributes. This presentation will look at self-advocacy and creativity, drawing on my personal lived experience. It will focus on challenging assumptions, promoting autistic strengths, strategies for advocacy, supporting allistic folks to be allies, and promoting self-esteem and positive self-knowledge for autistic people.
Personne qui prendra la parole est Yenn Purkis. Yenn Purkis est autiste, TDAH, non-binaire, asexuel, schizophrène, artiste littéraire et personne chargée de la représentation au niveau mondial. Un voyage à travers de l'autodéfense en utilisant la créativité et les attributs autistes positifs. Cette présentation portera sur la défense de nos propres intérêts et la créativité en s'appuyant sur ma expérience personnelle. Il mettra l'accent sur la remise en question des hypothèses, la promotion des forces autistes, la stratégie de défense des intérêts, l'appui aux personnes allistes pour qu'elles deviennent des alliés et la promotion de l'estime de soi et de la connaissance de soi positive pour les personnes autistes.
Hi there, my name's Yenn Purkis and I'm going to talk to you today about autism advocacy and about autism and creativity. So bear with me while I share my screen. There we go, that's the one. Lovely. Okay, so yes, my presentation is all about autistic self-advocacy and creativity. So about me, I'm autistic, ADHD, and have schizophrenia and anxiety. I'm also non-binary and asexual. I'm the author of 13 published books with a further 4 in production, so lots of books. I do have a number of awards, including the ACT Volunteer of the Year from 2016 and the ACT Chief Minister's Award from 2019 for my work in autism advocacy mostly. I've been giving public presentations since 2002, so for over 20 years. I've done TEDx Canberra twice. Well, actually, I've done TEDx Canberra once in 2013, and I'm doing it again in a week and a half's time. So by the time this goes to air, I will have done 2 TED Talks. Yay to me. I have done a number of keynote presentations over the years, and I've also done a number of talks in smaller forums, school groups, scout groups, to a bunch of psychiatrists, that kind of thing. So I always like to put in a few pictures of myself doing the thing. So on the left, we've got me speaking to a room full of psychiatrists, which was quite scary, but really lovely. Up the top is me giving a keynote presentation for Disability Employment Australia, which is an employment services provider. And down the bottom is a mural of Yenn. It is actually a Yenn mural, and it's about 5 minutes walk from where I used to live before I moved here. So yes, I often used to take people there. I took my parents there, which is lovely. So advocacy. What is advocacy? Well, it's primarily about standing up for yourself or other people. It's about representation as well, challenging bigotry. So there's a lot of bigotry in the world, some intentional, some not intentional, but still hurtful. Supporting other people, and that falls into the category of allyship, and advocacy can happen in all walks of life for all different groups as well. It's about being heard and making yourself heard, speaking out to get your needs met, absolutely essential, conveying your thoughts, feelings, concerns, worries, fears, all of those things, and being comfortable to raise those things, supporting others' knowledge and understanding of your own experience, challenging ableism and bigotry, and being able to ask for help is a really useful kind of advocacy. Supporting empowerment and self-determination, both of others and of yourself. Why do we need advocacy? Well, sadly we do, because there is so much stigma and ableism in the world. It's about building self-esteem and self-confidence, promoting inclusion and respect. And in this space, inclusion and respect are absolutely essential. It's about holding bigots to account and making the world a more inclusive place. It's about removing barriers to opportunities, such as in employment and education and healthcare and things like that. And it's about allowing people to shine and reach their potential, whatever that may be. There are some barriers that make advocacy more difficult. Things like bigotry and prejudice. Bullying. If you're being bullied, it is very difficult to stand up for yourself. That is a big challenge. Bias, conscious or unconscious. So some people may have no idea that they're being highly inappropriate and unhelpful and making people feel bad about existing. So bias is a big problem. Societal and structural barriers, discrimination, ableism in the world, beyond the individual level, legislative issues, things like access to justice, that kind of thing falls under structural and societal barriers. Internalised ableism. If you have internalised ableism, it's very hard to stand up for yourself because you don't think you deserve it. Inspiration. That's a phrase coined by the late, great Stella Young, who's a disability activist, in her TED Talk many years ago. And inspiration porn is about people treating you like you're inspirational for just doing ordinary things because you have a disability. So I had someone say, "Oh, you're such an inspiration for taking the bus." I'm thinking, no, I'm not an inspiration for taking the bus. Sorry, I'm not. And that kind of thing can be a real barrier to advocacy. And assumptions and stereotypes, which are a barrier to all sorts of good things. We do not need assumptions or stereotypes. What does advocacy involve? It involves a number of things. It can involve a combination of strategies, having conversations with people, lobbying and protests and things like that, writing, social media and conventional media. There's me doing my first TED Talk. I was loving that. That was so fun. I hope the next one's fun as well. It should be. I'm talking about autigender, which is the identity of autism and gender diversity as a core part of what makes you who you are and a core part of your identity. So this one, I was talking about resilience and autism. So it's lovely. My own advocacy. Obviously, the books reach a wide audience. People love the books. I love the books. They're quite wonderful. They're a good thing to do, good legacy to have. Presentations. I also love the presentations. Conversations with influencers, my social media presence. So I have about 35,000 people directly on my social media. So I do a lot of work on there. I have a regular blog and I post memes and things like that. I'm on a number of boards and committees, and over the years, I've been on dozens of them. And I help to contribute to research sometimes as well. Some more things I do, I support and give advice to parents, employers, partners, autistic folks, and all sorts of other people. These days, that often looks like consultancies. So I do consultancies for organisations. Individual interactions on social media. I spend a lot of my time on social media interacting with people. Friendship can definitely be a form of advocacy, challenging unhelpful views and learning from others. So every conversation I have about autism, everything I read, every presentation I look at, I learn from. So helpful attributes for advocates, and there are some things that make it easier to be an advocate. Assertiveness. Assertiveness doesn't just make it easy to be an advocate. Assertiveness makes it easier to be a human being. Assertiveness is a wonderful skill, and I'm very grateful that it's a skill I have. Setting and maintaining boundaries, likewise, very useful skill in life generally. Self-esteem, confidence, working with others and having positive working relationships with others, and a sense of respect for yourself and other people. Calling out ableism. This is really important in this space. It requires assertiveness and self-confidence. The more you do it, the better you get. And that's what I've found in my life. The more I stand up for myself and stand up for others, the better at standing up for myself and others I get. People might not realise they're being ableist. So you might go in all guns blazing, expecting them to be really defensive. And they apologise and say, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realise that." I've had that happen a lot. So it can be more scary to think about doing it than actually doing it. And I try to be gentle but firm when calling out ableism. So not to be blaming and not to be angry, but to say, look, it's not actually okay to say that. And creativity. We love creativity here at Yenski Central. Yeah, this is Yenski Central. This is my house. I own it. Well, no, the bank owns most of it, and the cat probably owns the rest. But no, this is where I work from, and it's quite lovely. So creativity, and that's one of my artworks there. Somebody in a difficult situation, probably me. So I was diagnosed as autistic at the age of 20 in 1994. I was told that autistic people can't be creative. And I remember saying, with some disbelief about this, saying, but I'm doing a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Surely I'm creative. In fact, I've always been creative. I've always been highly creative. I used to go to gifted kids school, and all of my giftedness was about music and art and writing and things like that, and drama and stuff like that. So those skills are all about creativity. I've made a career from writing and presenting. So what is autistic creativity? It can be part of a passionate interest, and it often is. So many famous autistic people are actors, artists, writers, musicians, comedians, all of these things. It's very common for an autistic celebrity to be a creative celebrity. However, creativity can manifest in all walks of life. I write non-fiction. You might think that that's not very creative. It's extremely creative. Coding can be creative. Gaming can be creative. Cosplay, definitely creative. Finding solutions to technical problems can be creative. Autistic people are all over this stuff. Autism is often a highly creative thing. We do tend to see things differently. We tend to approach life differently. And this is why we need to be involved in all areas of society. Our fresh perspectives and creative outlooks can and do change the world for the better. So my art and writing, I'm going to share some artworks and poems. I've actually got two poems. One of them's funny and the other one's serious. So I'll start with the serious one first. So this is my poetry book that I've got. This one's called They Don't Grieve, Do They? I was told by the doctor that I don't grieve. Autistics don't grieve, she pronounced. You don't feel love or empathy. So why then did I feel like my world was ruined and gone? The part of my soul was missing when cancer took Val to a place I couldn't follow, if it wasn't grief. What was the rush of joy that filled me with closeness and wonder when I held my brand new niece in my arms, if it wasn't love? Why then have I spent years doing endless unpaid work to assist others if I am devoid of empathy? Maybe the doctor showed me that she lived in a world devoid of love and empathy. Maybe I should help show her my love, my empathy, my grief, to make her whole. And this one is a funny one, and it's called When I Get Old. This one actually won a prize, I think. When I grow old, I'll complain at length about the ways of the day to anyone left long enough to listen. I'll wear stylish clothes, makeup, heels, perfume, something suitably musky. I'll eat at the best restaurants, go to the theatre, the opera, and secretly smoke cigarettes, and only let my closest confidants in on the secret. I'll watch adaptations of Agatha Christie and every program on the ABC on a Sunday night. I'll tell my friends and family that I don't drink, then sneak the occasional sly glass of wine, only publicly partaking at Christmas. I'll reminisce about my long-gone youth. Not all the stories will be true. I'll live in a crumbling mansion. I'll not so silently judge the youth of the day, and I'll push into supermarket queues, thinking I've lived long enough to garner such a privilege. I'll be a legend, a survivor, a historical character. Sometimes I think I can hardly wait until I get old. So that's some poems, and here's some artworks. This one is from 1996, which I was very creative. I made lots of art. I was very unwell. I was very miserable, but my art from then is stunning. Here, this one's from 1993. This is when I first went to art school. So I went to art school, screwed up my life, went back to art school, got a master's degree, joined the public service. So that's a potted history of my life. But yes, I did go to art school in 1993, and that's one of my artworks from there. And this one is a more recent one. I think this is a couple of years ago. And so I've still got these mysterious, moody landscapes, which I really love. I should do some more. So just a couple of resources. We've got the Autism and Neurodiversity Self-Advocacy Handbook, which is by myself and Barb Cook, and that's the image there. The Actually Autistic Guide to Advocacy by Jenna Jenzik and Jennifer Brunton, which I highly recommend. It actually came out at the same time as this one, so they're sort of in competition, but they're both very good. And the Guide to Good Mental Health on the Autism Spectrum, which is by Emma Goodall, Jane Nugent, and me. So thank you so much. It's absolutely lovely talking to you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. And yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thank you. Goodbye.